We are in Las Vegas at the Luxor, which is where Tupac had reservations on the night he was shot.
In this video, we're going to take you around, take you through his final night on Earth, what he did, and the moments leading up to his death. We're also going to go through some of the theories of who might have done this. And we cordially invite you to come along.
On the night that Tupac was murdered, he left the Luxor and went on over to MGM Grand, where he watched Mike Tyson fight Bruce Seldon.
That was the whole reason why he was in town, was to watch this fight. Actually, he had plans to go to Atlanta to see some family, but Suge Knight talked him into coming to Vegas to watch the fight. I guess it wasn't too hard to talk him into it because he was good friends with Mike Tyson.
After a short little walk, we arrived at MGM. Tyson knocked out Seldon in the first round, and it didn't take long.
It was less than 2 minutes for that fight. After the fight, Tupac was pretty wound up from watching the fight. There's some video of him kind of pumping his arms, doing the whole pump fist fight thing. And then one of his entourage came and whispered something in his ear. It turns out they had whispered that someone from the Southside Crypt was here. It was someone who had stolen a Death Row Records medallion at one point in time. So Tupac went over and started beating him up here at the MGM. The fight took place here in the lobby of the MGM. The person Tupac went after was a man by the name of Orlando Anderson. When police later began investigating the murder of Tupac, they only knew the man's first name was Orlando. So they called Compton police, who immediately knew his last name was Anderson. He was actually under investigation at the time in Compton for another murder. Compton police were confident Anderson was the one who killed Tupac, but Vegas police met with him and decided there wasn't enough proof to charge him.
After the fight, Tupac and his crew came here to the Luxor.
This was so they could get ready to go out for the night. They were planning to head out to the club.
Tupac Amaru Shakur posed for a picture right here in the lobby of the Luxor on the day of the shooting. This is the former location of Club 662, where Suge and Tupac were heading when they were shot. It closed shortly after Tupac's murder and was various different businesses over the years. It is now closed. We're now at the intersection of Koval and East Flamingo Street. This is where Suge Knight pulled up in his black BMW with Tupac riding in the passenger seat. Tupac's bodyguard pulled up in a car behind them.
Then to the left of them, there was a car parked already at the light, and in front of them, there was a car parked right at the right as well. This is when a couple girls pulled up to the left of their car. The girls asked, "Hey, what are y'all doing?" And they said, "We're going to Suge's club. It's called Club 662. And they said, "Come on, come with us and join us at the club." Well, they were distracted by these two girls, and at that point, a white Cadillac came pulling up on the road and basically parked right here behind us, right in there. That's when an arm came out the back left-hand side of the vehicle and started firing. This person shot once through the back door, multiple times through the front door, front window, and the front door window as well. It hit Tupac 4 times, hit Suge once.
A total of 13 rounds were fired into the car. Tupac tried to jump into the back seat as the shots rang out. 2 police officers that were riding a bike heard the commotion, came down Flamingo Road, then decided to follow Suge Knight and Tupac.
Yeah, neither one of them stayed here to secure the crime scene. Also, that white Cadillac took off into the night. Suge made a U-turn here and went back down East Flamingo, even though the Desert Springs Hospital was actually closer and near where Club 662 was at the time. Since the cops chose to follow the car, no one stayed here to secure the crime scene. Between the time of the shooting and the time this area was finally secured, many cars had driven through here, destroying any evidence that was left behind. The bullet casings were run over, with some even falling into sewage openings.
We're at South Las Vegas Boulevard and East Harmon Street. This is where Suge Knight's vehicle rolled to a stop after the shooting occurred.
He had been running over medians, lampposts, all kinds of stuff. The car kind of gave out right here. Now when police arrived, they could not get Tupac out of the car. They couldn't get the door open. Suge Knight actually came over and yanked the door open himself, pulled Tupac out, and they laid him on a stretcher.
Tupac said, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe." Once they had taken him out of here, the scene became a madhouse, with police holding back Tupac's crew at gunpoint, while people ran up and tried to grab things off of the car. We're at University Medical Center. This is where they took Tupac after he was shot. He was shot in his thigh, pelvis, right hand and lung. They actually had to remove a section of his ribs to be able to take out his lung.
When they took it out, they thought he actually had a pretty decent chance of survival. They told some people in the waiting room his chances were about 50-50. Unfortunately, they had missed some of the areas where blood was still coming out inside of him. The internal bleeding continued, and they weren't able to stop it. Then, on Friday the 13th of September, his mother decided to take him off of life support.
Sadly, he was pronounced dead at 4:03 p.m. Later, his body was cremated. His mother spread some of his ashes in LA and the rest in her garden.
Most people who have studied this case closely over the years now believe the shooting was simply an act of revenge carried out by Orlando Anderson after being beat up by Tupac earlier in the evening. Vegas police had a hard time putting the pieces together after the shooting because of the problems with the crime scene and because they couldn't get any eyewitnesses to talk. They had let Suge go without interviewing him on the night of the murder. He finally showed back up 3 days later with 3 lawyers and said he saw nothing. When asked if he would tell police if he knew who the shooter was, he said, "Absolutely not, because it's not my job. I don't get paid to solve homicides. I don't get paid to tell on people." Yaki Gaddafi was in the car behind Tupac at the time of the shooting. He told police he saw the shooter, but police didn't get the name from him and he left town. Less than 2 months later, he was shot and killed in New Jersey before police ever got a name from him. Less than 2 years after Tupac's murder, Orlando Anderson was one of 3 people killed in a gun battle in Compton.
The investigation still remains open to this day.
They probably never will officially solve this case. Y'all be sure to hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you can come along with us on future adventures.
Come along.